Bring the Butte-Silver Bow Council of Commissioners regular meeting to order for Wednesday, October 15th. Can we please have a roll call?
10 present, 2 absent.
Okay, please let the record reflect that Commissioner Anderson and Callahan are excused. Commissioner Walker, would you lead us in the prayer and the pledge? Before I move on to the next item on tonight's agenda, I just want to correct the record. There's 9 present because I'm acting as Chief Executive, because Chief Executive Gallagher is at the League of Cities and Towns conference. So there will be 9 voting members tonight. Next item on tonight's agenda is any public comment on any items on the agenda. If there's a member of the public that would like to speak on any items that's on tonight's agenda, now would be your time. Please state your name and address for the record.
Ready for us, 2000 Roberts Avenue. Communication number 2, number 2025-485. I'd like to say that sounds awesome and you guys should approve it. And then communication number 2025-495, which is number 11. That seems like an odd amount of money, and I'm curious if that's a misprint or if that 54 cents is definitely correct. And then communication number 28 or number 2025-512, the Clark Chateau getting a upgrade using the Superfund Advisory and Redevelopment Trust Authority. I'm just curious how and I agree that the Clark Chateau should receive that upgrade and that money, but I'm just curious how that's allowed, I guess, using a Superfund funding grant. Anyways, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name and address for the record. Oh, Larry, can I ask you to turn on the microphone? There's just a button on the bottom.
Turn it on?
There
okay.
you go. You're
Can
good.
you hear me now?
Thank you.
My name is Larry Winstall. I put the repurchased Silverbow Park on the agenda, and I'd just like some time to give an update and answer questions on it. You had it under note and file. So last time I proposed this, there was quite a bit of interest and a lot of questions. I'd just like some time for tonight.
So during our rules here, public comment, there's no dialogue back and forth. It's only your opportunity to speak on any item on tonight's agenda. If the member of the commissioner wants to segregate that, they would be free to do that at a later time in the agenda.
All righty.
Okay? Any other member of the public that would like to speak on any items on tonight's agenda? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Sullivan, 1421 West Diamond Street, and I'm here tonight representing the Butte Local Development Corporation in regards to communications 2025, 489, and 490, requesting council authorization to have Chief Executive Gallagher sign an amendment to the purchase and sale agreements with Sonata and with Horizons Montana, which is the Sabi Data Center. You all know that we work very closely with Butte-Silver Bow's Community Development Department. We think it's imperative that we go ahead and extend those agreements, to those purchase and sale agreements, to allow them to have time to complete all of their due diligence to bring these projects to fruition in Butte. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public that would like to speak on any item on tonight's agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I would move on to the approval of the minutes for the October 1st, 2025 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 1st, 2025 regular meeting.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to approve the regular meeting minutes of October 1st, 2025. Is there anything on the question? Would the commissioners please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item is items not addressed on the agenda. We do have a couple emergency suspensions to add to communications to tonight's agenda. We have communication 2025-515 and communication 2025-516. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. In accordance with the provisions of Rule 7 of the Rules of Business of the Council of Commissioners of the City and County of Butte-Silver, State of Montana, the Council hereby finds that an emergency condition exists which requires that the Council rules be suspended to allow for communication number 2025-515 and 2025-516 to be added to the agenda. The reason for the suspension is as follows. Council Communication 2025-515 is a communication from Ed Lester requesting authorization for Butte-Silver to apply to the U.S. Department of Justice Body Worn Camera Policy and Implementation BWC PIP grant program and approve the $10,000 50% matching funds request at the regular council meeting. The deadline to apply is October 27th, 2025. Council Communication 2025-516 is to appoint a replacement coroner on November 5th, 2025, effective November 8th. Based upon the foregoing and to allow this matter to be acted upon, the council hereby finds that an emergency exists which requires a suspension of the council's rules to add Communication 2025-515 and 2025-516. So I will make a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to suspend the rules to allow communication 2025-515 and 2025-516 to be added to tonight's agenda. If these communications are accepted, we will discuss them at the end of the committee of the whole or consent agenda. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. We'll take those communications up later on in the agenda. Next item on tonight's agenda is the Chief Executive report. Again, the only thing that I would have to report is that Chief Executive Gallagher is absent today just because he is at the Montana League of Cities and Towns Conference in Billings. I'd move on to section 1, the consent agenda. A, the committee reports 1 through 5. B, communications 1 through 30. Is there any commissioner that would like to ask for any segregations and or changes, friendly amendments? Commissioner Healy.
Thank you. I'm going to segregate number 6, communication number 2025-489.
(489). Okay. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I'd like to segregate item number 1, communication number 2025-484.
Okay. Any other segregations? Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I'd like to segregate number 6, 2025-489, or sorry, that
That one was already segregated.
7, 2025-490, 12, 2025-496, and 28, 2025-512.
So that was communication number 7, 25-490, number 12, 25-496, and 25-519. Is that correct?
I think so. Is that yours? Sir? Good.
Okay. Any other segregations or friendly amendments? Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I'd like to segregate communication 2025-494, number 10, please.
Okay, that's 2025-494. Commissioner O'Neill, would you mind segregating number 11, 25-495, because they do go together in a sense?
I would love to also segregate number 11, 2025-495. Thank you.
Okay, any other segregations, friendly amendments? All right, Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, Section A, committee reports 1 through 4, Section B, communications, looks like 1 through 30, with the exceptions of item number 1, 2025-484, item number 6, 2025-489, item number 7, 2025-490, item number 10, 2025-494, and item number 11, 2025-495, item number 12, 2025-496, and item number 25, number 25, 2025-509, sorry.
519.
Oh, 519, excuse
And-
me.
And just to correct, committee reports 1 through 5, not 1, just, you said 1 through 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 through 4.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
25, now item number 25, 2025, that's what I have circled, 2025 dash,
Okay.
hold on, I gotta get here.
Commissioner Thatcher, I believe it's 28, communication 25-519.
Good Lord, sorry. Okay, so item number 28, 2025,
519.
mine says 512. That's why.
Commissioner O'Leary, were you
Yeah.
thinking of 512? 512.
Okay, so item number 28, 2025-512. Sorry about that.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. A, the committee reports 1 through 5. B, communications 1 through 30, with the exclusion of number 1, 25-485, 6, 25-489, 7, 25-490, 10, 25-494, 11, 25-495, 12, 25-496, and 28, 25-512. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to B, the communications. Number 1, communication 2025-484. J.P. Gallagher, Chief Executive, requesting Council of Commissioners concurrence in renaming the Butte Readiness Center to Don Peoples Senior Complex. We request this change to honor Don for his outstanding leadership during Butte's most economic challenging era in the mid-1980s. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I would just like you to be able to provide your statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Thatcher. Chief Executive Gallagher did ask me to read something into the record regarding this communication, and then Mr. Cambridge does have something to say as well. Message from J.P. Gallagher, Chief Executive. I respectfully submit this request to name the former National Guard Readiness Center in honor of the former Chief Executive Don Peoples Sr. Few individuals have shaped our community with the vision, resilience, and dedication that Don Peoples Sr. exemplified. Throughout some of the most challenging chapters in Butte's history, Don stood as a tireless leader, offering hope, direction, and unwavering commitment to the people he served. His leadership was not only deeply respected by the citizens of Butte-Silver, but also recognized and admired by officials at both the state and the federal level. Don was a force for progress, always guided by the best interest of his beloved hometown. In a place proudly known as the Can-Do City, Don was the embodiment of the Can-Do chief executive. It would be a profound honor to commemorate his legacy by naming the building at the former National Guard Readiness Center, the Don Peoples Senior Butte-Silver Bow Complex. Thank you for considering this tribute to a remarkable leader whose impact continues to inspire. Mr. Cambich, I know you have some words as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Probably one of the reasons why JP asked me to reiterate some of the things in his pre-log here. I've been in Butte-Silver Bow for almost 10 years, 5 years in a stint during the People's Administration in economic development, and I worked for 3 chief executives, both Don Peoples, Davy Fisher, and JP Gallagher right now. So he asked me to get up and say a few things, and I think one of the other reasons why is since Judge Kruger retired, I think I'm the oldest guy here in the courthouse now. It's hard to think of me that way, but I still think I'm about 30 years old. But naming the Don Peoples Senior, the Readiness Center, the Don Peoples Senior Complex. Don Peoples was appointed Butte-Silver Bow in 1979 after the first chief executive, which was Mayor Mike McConey at the time, had left and went to work for the state of Montana under the Judge administration. Don Peoples was elected to the Butte-Silver Bow Council to chief executive in 1980, 1984, and 1988, respectively. During the People's tenure at Butte-Silver Bow, he was recognized by World News and World Report as one of the top 20 chief executives, mayors in the state, in the nation. And he will always be remembered in my mind and many others. He was the man who saved Butte, to be quite honest with you. Peoples dealt with the following and he guided Butte through one of the most adverse economic periods that we'd ever probably withstood beyond the strikes of the Anaconda Company. In 1980, the closure of the smelter happened in September 1980. During the period of January 1983 to June 1983, Butte would lose the following. Atlantic Richfield would close all mining operations, leaving 1,200 people in Butte in both the mining industry and support administrative industry out of work, just like that. Happened just like that. Safeway warehouse closed permanently. It was the regional warehouse and regional offices for a 3-state region, Montana and the 2 Dakotas. Northwest Airlines flew their last flight out in April that year, leaving 25 people out of work. And the number of small businesses had failed at that point in time. Butte's unemployment skyrocketed to well over 21% in that period. And the value of a mill plummeted to around $30,000. It was a real economic distress. And Butte was the only community in this nation that ever had its own obituary written about it in the New York Times. Peoples at that time, and I came on in 1985, he tightened the belt, implementing hiring freeze, no new taxes. He formed what they called the Economic Futures Program, engaging the Butte and the community with 500 community leaders and membership in an economic development process. It was also funded by from the Northwest Pacific Institute. They went through a new age thinking, 500 people in this community. But most importantly, he formed what they called the Mining Development Committee at that time, whose mission was to keep the most important piece of infrastructure that we had at the time was the Clyde E. Weed concentrator. Because you can always have a mine, but if you don't have a concentrator to concentrate those ores, there is no mining left in Butte. That was the main mission at that time. In September 1985, we were very fortunate. I was a young punk kid, about 24, 25 years old, I can't remember which. Time flies, but Denise Washington purchased the Atlantic Richfields asset, the mine, the concentrator, and the Butte Anaconda, both water systems, all surrounding, on all the surrounding land holdings. The mine officially opened in June 1986 under Montana Resources Incorporated. Butte was later on in 1988, by that period of time, was named by the National Civic League Butte's All-America City in 1988, which was a significant, going from a Rust Belt dislocated community to an All-America City. With the reverse of mining in 1986, along with our proud #1 license plate that we all wear on our forehead, if you will, Butte was once again the mining city. And Butte, during this time, united during this period, we persevered, and we persevered during this severe economic adversity and economic dislocation. Butte was back, but most importantly, that's kind of why we're all here at our age right now, is because, you know, we saved a real good piece of infrastructure. So it's an honor to just be up here in front of you, all the ladies and gentlemen of the commission, but it's a reality, and he was the guy that saved Butte. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Okay?
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Kambich. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Mr. Kambich, I love to hear you talk about Butte history, so thank you for that. And I just also want to express my appreciation for Don Peoples Sr. I read a book a while ago. I won't name it here because that would be improper, but if anybody wants to know out of my official role, I would pass that on. But a lot of people don't realize that if it weren't for Don Peoples, we might be sitting in the middle of the pit right now. He literally saved Uptown Butte from sure destruction. And thank you for that wonderful history. And I hope everybody can really appreciate what we still have right here because of Mr. Peoples. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I would just like to point of clarification that this is going to be the former armory down on Sampson Street, so people aren't aware of some of the new names we're using.
Sure.
As the old timers in Butte, as we're speaking of history, this is the old armory, and that's the spot that will be named for Don Peoples Sr. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to concur and place on file communication number 2025-484.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-484 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to number 6. Communication 2025-489, Kayla Lappin, Economic Development Coordinator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to have Chief Executive Gallagher sign an amendment to the purchase and sale agreement with Senate. I believe this was Commissioner Healy. Commissioner Healy.
Thank you, Chair Morgan. It says signing an amendment. I was wondering what the amendment says.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Lappin, before we start, I would just like to welcome you to the Council of Commissioners meeting. I know this is your first one as a new Butte-Silver Bow employee as the Economic Development Coordinator. So I just want to welcome you to this body. Please respond.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan and Commissioner Healy. It's great to be here for this meeting. So the amendment to the purchase and sale agreement for the company is pronounced Sonata. I know it's kind of a different pronunciation. This is a Norwegian company that is looking to locate in Montana Connections Park. The amendment is to extend their purchase and sale agreement with us until June 30th of 2026. Before my time here as a Butte-Silver Bow employee, I was Director of Marketing and Business Recruitment for Butte Local Development Corporation. I have been working with Sonata for about a couple of years now in that capacity, and now in this capacity. And so Olav was representing Sonata at the last Montana Connections Board meeting, which was held, I believe, on October 3rd, if I'm getting the date right. And so he was present, and he explained to us that they're still in the commercialization phase of their product. So they have a graphite component that goes into EV batteries. And he did also inform us that they have narrowed down their search for their expansion into the U.S. to only Butte, which I thought was pretty positive news on that front. And so they just, they're working in Norway, from my understanding, to continue that commercialization. Which includes direct contracts with EV battery manufacturers in Europe, and they're working to kind of scale those projects up. And so once they reach a point with those companies, which he's expecting sometime in the next 4 months, actually, then he's hoping that they will have a bigger announcement about their planned expansion.
Thank you. Commissioner Healy, follow up.
Thank you, Ms. Lappin. The second question is, there's been, now that this is out there in the community wants to have some input. Is there a time that that can happen?
Ms. Lappin? Question, Commissioner Thatcher?
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Commissioner Healy, are you referring to Sonata or with the Horizons Montana, the data center? Because the data center is the next one.
No.
Commissioner Healy, you're talking about Sonata, right?
Yes. My question was to Ms. Lappin.
Okay, Ms. Lappin.
Sure. Commissioner Healy, so this is an amendment to our purchase and sale agreement. So before a land sale can take place, we will definitely be bringing that back, and folks are definitely welcome to stop by my office in a public way. You know, if that's something folks are requesting, we can definitely, you know, we want all voices heard for sure. It hasn't been brought to my attention so far that was something for that project. However, you know, our offices in community and economic development are always open. And before we go through with a land sale, we will bring that forward, obviously, through Montana Connections Board. And so, you know, at that point when we're selling the land, I think that's when, you know, we would want to make sure that we've got all that public comment going forward.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Lappin. And just to clarify too, this would be considered an opportunity for the public to be engaged as well, as the communication was before the council. It was published, and they could have came up today and spoke on any item on tonight's agenda as well. So that would have been a public involvement as well. So, Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. This was also before the council in 2023. So this has been an ongoing project for more than 2 years, and the council's already considered part of this purchase sale land agreement. So it's not exactly brand new.
Okay. Anything else on the question? What would be your pleasure, Commissioner Healy?
I'd like to make a motion to concur and place on file.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-489 and place on file. Is that correct, Commissioner Healy? Amend second. Okay. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next item is number 7, Communication 2025-490. Kayla Lappin, Economic Development Coordinator, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to have Chief Executive Gallagher sign an amendment to the purchase and sale agreement with Horizons Montana LLC. Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. The reason I segregated this is just to give Ms. Lapp an opportunity to give us an update on where Sonate is, excuse me, not Sonate, but Horizons Montana, on the purchase of this land and kind of if they have anything that they want us to know.
Ms. Lappin.
Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Leary, thank you. O'Leary, excuse me. Yeah, so for Horizons Montana LLC, doing business as SABE, we have been, in ongoing talks with them. They visited our offices a couple of weeks ago and gave us an update about where they were at. They are looking to extend their purchase and sale agreement to, I believe it's February 11th. One of the reasons for that is they are still in ongoing, negotiations for securing some of the resources that they need for their project to move forward. They're still finalizing some of their design and some of their plans, and we believe that this extension will give them an opportunity to do their due diligence and make sure that this project can move forward in an appropriate manner in our community, and that includes, conversations with power, water, all sorts of resources.
Follow-up, Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Ms. Lappin, thank you for the update. You mentioned the water there, and that was the next thing that was on my mind. I know that that's going to end up back in front of this council at some point. Any updates there that specific updates that you can give us on what their expectations are for water consumption and what we can maybe start thinking about?
Certainly.
Ms. Lappin.
Excuse me,
You're fine.
sorry.
You're fine.
Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner O'Leary, yes, we have been in constant conversation. As folks may know, Montana Connections, we are one of the only city-county governments, cities and counties that have a dedicated industrial water source. That would be being the Silver Lake industrial water source. And so all of our folks who are out in the Connections Park have access to this industrial water source. And one of my talking points back from my business recruitment days was, how much available water are we going to have, at the park? And right away, we are set up infrastructure-wise to provide up to 7 million gallons a day in water in both incoming and outcoming. And from my understanding in talks with SABE, they have a plan to, reuse some of their water on site within their operations. They're obviously still in the design phase of their project, and the figure floated around was below that threshold of 7 million gallons a day for their first phase of their operation. And so we believe that the park will be able to meet the needs with current infrastructure. Plans change, things change. Obviously, none of these numbers are set in stone, which is why we're requesting the due diligence period. But so far, it's within the threshold of the current infrastructure at the park.
Follow-up, Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Thank you for that, Ms. Lappin. I guess just my thoughts on that. 7 million gallons a day is an enormous amount of water, and I hope that SABE is thinking about ways to reduce that number. I don't think, me personally, I could support a significant usage of our water and leave us high and dry for any future industrial uses. But at this point, I'd like to make a motion to concur and place on file Communication 2025-490.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with Communication 2025-490 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Sir, this isn't an open meeting. A commissioner would have to call upon you to ask any questions. Okay. Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-490 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Okay. Would everyone please vote? On the question, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan, this evening. Commissioner O'Leary does bring up some good points. So again, I just want to reiterate kind of with Commissioner O'Leary with that 7 million or 7 million gallons a day. I don't know if that was for the whole park or is that specifically, if Ms. Lappin could answer more direct on if that's for the 7 million gallons a day for the whole entire park or just that project alone?
Ms. Lappin?
Sure. Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Mankins. So that figure, from my understanding, is what the current infrastructure is set up to hold. So that's not a figure that has come from the company themselves. That is just the threshold that the current pipes can hold. And from my understanding, that is per business out in the park. So we have the ability to deliver that much water per business, if that makes sense. So if that amount of water is requested, that's what our current infrastructure is set up to hold. So for example, when I'm talking to a business and they're interested in coming to Butte, one of the figures I can throw out there that I know we have the availability with the current system is that figure, the 7 million gallons a day figure. Now, there are the figure that has been given to us from SABE is well below that figure. And so we don't anticipate that requiring, any upgrades to the current infrastructure that are out there. And so that is my current understanding of how that water figure works.
Follow up, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Thank you, Ms. Lappin. So when you say well below, do you have a figure for us?
Ms. Lappin?
Give me one second. Commissioner Mankins, Commissioner Morgan. The figure that I have is not necessarily one that was given to us in the plans, but is some that they are looking at in their plans, which is around less than 3 million gallons a day, but that would be it recirculating throughout the facility. So it's like a closed loop system from my understanding, which is significantly less water than was used in the past for historic activities such as smelting, which was upwards of 50 million gallons a day.
Follow up, Commissioner Mankins.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan, and thank you, Ms. Lappin, for that information. I just think it would be very pertinent when it's coming back. I know that Commissioner O'Leary is concurrent place on file, and I am completely okay moving forward to see, but I think we need to have more exact numbers and seeing where and if how much is going to be recirculated and reused or recyclable in the future in order to support this. I think Commissioner O'Leary hit this right on the head with we can't leave ourselves without that. So just FYI back to the company, knowing that they have to crunch some numbers or to see where these numbers are exact before they can get the support, I would think. But thank you for coming, and yes, thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-490 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Okay, would everyone please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next one, to segregate. I'm going to change up the order just a little bit, if it's okay. I'm going to move to number 11, 25-495. Zach Osborne, Butte-Silver Bow Fire Chief, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to accept the AFG grant award in the amount of $545,454.54, requiring a 10% match in local funds, and move forward with the award process and equipment procurement. The reason that I just rearranged this, Commissioner O'Neill, is just because this goes before the previous one. So if this council takes action on this communication, then the other one would also need to have action taken on it as well. So Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to segregate this. Is one of our fine constituents was commenting about it. And also, I guess one thing on the 54 cents is every dime counts. So, or cent, I guess, dime, cents added in there. Also, just it's a great opportunity to what a great grant to get for the use it's for the SCBAs for the fire department, which not only is that for the paid guys, it's that goes down to all the volunteer guys as well. So it's a big deal to get a $500,000 into the budget to protect our firemen. So it's a good thing. So that was kind of the only place I was going there. If anybody has anything to go on that, so yeehaw, it's a celebration for an awesome grant into the county. So thank you.
Commissioner O'Neill, did you have a question, or did you want to make a motion?
I just want to celebrate it. It's time when we get a layup and a win. It's a good one. So, and wanted to celebrate that extra 54 cents. So, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we place communication number 2025-495, or excuse me, 495.
Commissioner O'Neill, you want to concur and place
Thank you. Thank you. I love you. I want to concur and place that on file. Thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-495. Is there anything on the question? Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. The question was posed earlier, why the number 545454.54. I don't know if anybody knows the reasoning behind that. It looks like somebody in the audience does, but it probably has some significance, and I would also like to know, curious minds.
Matthew Doble, Captain, Butte-Silver Fire, SCBA Coordinator. Why this is such a weird number is when you go by the AFG calculation, you take what you asked for and you do it divided by 1.1. So when we asked for it back in December, it was a larger number, but they went off of a different number of how many packs we're getting, we want, so which was 600,000. So 600,000 divided by 1.1, then that's where the 54544. Okay. So
Follow up, Commissioner O'Leary. All right, thank you. Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded. Is there anything else on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Or would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes. Going back to number 10, communication 2025-494, Zach Osborne, Butte-Silver Bow Fire Chief, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to schedule a public hearing for November 5th, 2025 for the purpose of amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 fire department budget to allow for increased expenditures of unanticipated revenue. Commissioner O'Neill, the reason I asked you to segregate this is because if the previous communication was denied or something, then this public hearing wouldn't have had to happen. So, Commissioner O'Neill.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. At this time, positive increase. We'd like to note that. At this time, I'd like to place communication 2025-494, concur and place on file. Thank you.
Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman
Hold
Morgan.
on. Died of lack of second. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I'd like to make a motion to hold communication number 2025-494 in the Committee of the Whole pending the public hearing.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to hold in the Committee of the Whole pending the public hearing. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Commissioner O'Leary, I think, didn't take. Okay, is there anyone that would like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. This is a lot easier to do with two arms. I'll move to number 12. Communication 2025-496, Larry Winstill, GNCDC member, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to repurchase the Greeley School ground plotted as Silver Bow Park because the property is now for sale. Was this Commissioner O'Leary?
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I segregated this with the intent of allowing Mr. Winstall to come up and speak. I don't know if he jumped out in the hallway or if he just left, but if anybody would mind just checking really quick. Looks like he might have left. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to note and place on file communication 2025-496.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to note communication 2025-496 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? On the question, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I guess the question I got, is this property up for sale? I've seen nothing on land sales to come to us about this property being for sale, so I'm not certain when it states here that the property is now for sale, if that's a correct statement or not.
Commissioner Fisher, it's my understanding that Butte-Silver Bow once owned this property and then sold this property and to a private party, and now this parcel is up for sale on the private side. And it was the wish of Mr. Winstill that Butte-Silver Bow repurchase the property from the private party. So we're not in ownership of it right now. A follow-up, Commissioner Fisher?
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. That clarifies what I'm thinking. I knew it was in private ownership, and I just didn't see why they were communicating with Butte-Silver Bow. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, there's been a motion to note communication 25-496 and place on file. Is there anything else on the question? Okay, would everyone please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
7 yea, 2 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to number 28. I apologize. Number 28, 2025-512, Ilona Wild, Clark Chateau Program Director, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to submit a Superfund Advisory and Redevelopment Trust Authority, SARTA, funding grant for $18,180 to paint the exterior windows, fascia, and soffits of the Clark Chateau. Commissioner O'Leary again, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I segregated this because we had a question from Mr. Frost about the use of the funds and whether or not we could use SARTA funds as this in this way. I don't know who the best person to answer this is. If this is a question for the county attorney.
Director Hassler has his hand up.
Chairman Morgan, members of the council, for the record, I'm Eric Hassler. I'm the director of the Department of Reclamation for Butte-Silver Bow. And yes, this is a proper use of it. So the Superfund Advisory and Redevelopment Trust Authority, the funding came from the 2006 allocation. It has the allocation agreement with Atlantic Richfield, and it has 7 different buckets that we can utilize for funding of different projects or programs throughout Butte-Silver Bow, and one of them is historic preservation. And that happens to be, I would assume, I have not seen the grant application at this point in time, but I'd assume this is underneath the historic preservation grant and would fall in line with previous projects that the authority has funded, such as work at the Art Chateau, the Archives, the Jacobs House, and Root in the Bloom. So it has nothing to do with the remedial aspect of contaminated materials. This is a redevelopment grant program, essentially, and within those buckets you can do anything from historic preservation to festivals to healthy initiatives. So it's fitting for it, and they have the ability to apply.
Thank you, Director Hassler. Commissioner O'Leary.
Thank you for that update. I love the Clark Chateau. It's a fantastic piece of our community, so I like to see any kind of work done on it, make it sparkle a little bit. So at this point, I will make a motion to concur and place on file 2025-512.
Thank you.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-512 and place on file. On the question, Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I just want to clarify that this communication is a request to apply for the grant. It's not an award of the grant.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. On the question, Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. I'm not certain if you have to get permission from the Council of Commissioners to apply for a SARTA grant. I mean, I think this communication doesn't need to go through us. I mean, anyone can apply for a SARTA grant that falls within the 7 buckets, I believe. They don't need a council approval to apply for a SARTA grant, I don't believe.
Director Hassler or Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. In my mind, it would be the same as any part of Butte-Silver Bow, any department that comes to the Council of Commissioners to apply for any type of grant, whether it's internal or not. Every department head or anything in Butte-Silver Bow has to come ask council's permission to apply for the grant, for example, like when they require a match or when we ask for those things. So I think it's just something similar to that.
Thank you, Commissioner Thatcher. I guess, Commissioner Fisher, to clarify that, so I believe you're right in that they don't have to ask the council to apply for just the SARTA grant, but there are matching funds that would be utilized that would come out of a Butte-Silver Bow budget, and that's what would require them to ask us for budget authority to make sure that that match is taken care of. And from what I recall on this communication, that the grant, they have the matching funds, and if something falls through with it, they're gonna do an auction or a sale of some sort to fundraise that money, and so that's what would require council approval on it. Okay, anything else on the question? Okay, there's been a motion to concur with communication 2025-512 and place on file. Is there anything else? And it's been seconded. Seeing none, would everyone please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next item on tonight's agenda would be the communications that we added by emergency suspension of the rules. The first one is Council Communication 2025-515 is a communication from Ed Lester requesting authorization for Butte-Silver Bow to apply for the U.S. Department of Justice Body Worn Camera Policy and Implementation Grant Program, and to approve the $10,000 50% matching funds requested at the regular council meeting. Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to concur and place on file communication number 2025-515.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-515. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Next item is Council Communication 2025-516. This communication is to appoint a replacement coroner on November 5th, 2025, effective November 8th. The reason that I submitted this communication on an emergency suspension of the rules is because I was notified yesterday that the current coroner, Lori Durkin, has sent in a letter noting her retirement effective November 7th. And when I was looking at the schedule, this body does not meet for another regular meeting because October 29th is the 5th Wednesday. And so in order to get this process moving forward, I wanted to try to get it on tonight's agenda so that we would be able to have our HR department advertise for a proper time frame and get the word out there that we're looking to appoint a new coroner. The current coroner, the interim coroner, if you will, Mr. Hollis has indicated that he's not interested in providing the service, any farther past that time frame. So I really thought it was important to try to get it before this body to start the process moving forward. So, Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. Just really quick, would you touch on then the next steps? Because once they finish once the application time closes, it then comes to us for the interviews, correct? Or could you explain that to the commissioners who have not been here for this process before?
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Thatcher. So the process would be as follows. If this body approves this communication tonight, the HR department will go through and advertise this position. They will make sure that the applicants that apply for it are qualified based upon, the rules for the election, 18 years or older and a resident of Butte-Silver Bow as such. And then they will accept resumes, applications until November 5th at noon. And then at that time, those resumes, applications would be then forwarded to this body. And then at that meeting that same night, we would interview all of the candidates that apply for the position and ask them questions based on what the council would like to ask them. And then from there, we would go through and make a decision on who the next interim coroner would be. Going off of my memory, I believe that interim coroner would be in place until November of 2026, because the next cycle for the election would be on the ballot, and then immediately once the votes are canvassed, the winner of such election would then replace this person, if it's not that person, to be the coroner of Butte-Silver Bow for the next 2 years, and then they would be back on the ballot for the true 4-year term in 2028, right? So let me throw some hard dates at you right now, but that's long down the process of how it goes. But the thing to remember for tonight is we would do interviews on November 5th at the regular council meeting. The other thing I would state is this is the same process that I've followed and we've all followed in previous times. So, Commissioner Thatcher.
Thank you, Chairman Morgan. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to concur and place on file communication number 2025-516.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-516 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Okay, Commissioner Boyle. Okay, would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. I believe that takes care of all of our regular communications. I would move on to Section 2, communications to be read and acted upon. Communication number 2025-493, Mike Lawson, Commandant of the Marine Corps League Detachment, number 724, requesting Council of Commissioners authorization to raise the United States Marine Corps flag in front of the courthouse to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps on November 10th, 2025. The reason that I placed this communication just to be read and acted upon was just to keep the kind of the policy in place for flags to be flown in front of the courthouse as we've done earlier this year. I did ask the county attorney if the Marine Corps flag met the local law for the state of Montana, and I'd let county attorney let us know his thoughts on that.
Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Yes, that is correct. The United States Marine Corps flag falls within the definition of a flag that can be flown on county or state property pursuant to the new flag law, House Bill 847 or 852, whatever it was. But yes, it fits.
Thanks, County Attorney Enruth. Is there, I guess, Commissioner Thatcher?
No questions, Commissioner Morgan. I'd just like to make a motion to concur and place on file communication number 2025-493.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to concur with communication 2025-493 and place on file. Is there anything on the question? Would everyone please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Would the clerk please record the vote?
9 yea, 0 nay.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item is Section 3, Resolution and Ordinance introduced to Judiciary. We do have one, Resolution 2025-64, a resolution authorizing and approving the transfer of the real property described as lot numbered 1 of the Montana Connection Subdivision Plat 305A, located in Section 25, Township 3 North, Range 9 West, Principal Meridian, within the city and county of Butte-Silver Bow, Montana, and a lot numbered 3 of the Montana Connection Subdivision Plat 305-A in Section 25, Township 3 North, Range 9 West, Principal Meridian, within the city and county of Butte-Silver Bow, Montana, the Riley Global Solutions LLC, in accordance with the provisions of the Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code and providing for an effective date herein. Next item is the calendar of other meetings and events. Please take a look at that. And next item on tonight's agenda is any public comment on any matter not on tonight's agenda. Now would be an opportunity for any member of the public to speak on any item that wasn't on tonight's agenda. Okay, seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Everyone have a good night.